Hello, my name is Paul Ackley. I am the Athletic Director for the McFarland School District, and the intent of this video is to share with you our activities and athletic code of conduct. It is also meant to give you a better understanding of the code that we have and the rules and policies in which we have in our athletic department and in our other co-curricular activities. So thank you for your time in watching this video. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact me at any time. So with our first slides, we are obviously welcoming all of our parents and athletes into our athletic department in the upcoming season and wanting each and every one of them to understand that participation in a school sport is a privilege that carries with it responsibilities. One of the things that I want to talk about here in this video is the importance of the registration piece. In order to have an athlete participate in our school activities, in our school athletics, they need to be fully registered. We do our online registration through Infinite Campus. There is an MHS sports fee for $97. The checks can be made payable to MHS, but also you can pay online through the Infinite Campus process. One of the more important things that we have to have on file is an appropriately signed medical form, otherwise known as a sports physical. Physicals are good for 2 school years and must be dated after 3/31 of 2017 to be good for this school year. One of the other things that we ask is watching this video or attending the athletic and activities code meeting or viewing this video online. And we also need to make sure that all of our athletes meet the WIAA enrollment, residency, grade, and age eligibility requirements. The physical form that I discussed earlier, you can see on the screen here, is an example of the physical form that we have in our front offices of the middle school as well as the high school. There are 4 very important parts of the physical form that need to be completed. Obviously, the athlete's name needs to be written at the top, along with their age, gender, grade, and the school that they're participating in. Please make sure that the box that says cleared without restrictions or cleared with the following restrictions is checked by the physician. Please also make sure that the signature of the licensed physician is on the document and the date of the exam is located where the red arrow is pointing. Please also make sure, parents, that you have signed the form at the bottom of the sheet and dated it on the date that you signed it. There are times where doctors' offices or medical clinics have their own form that they use. As long as those 4 topics are covered within that form, then that form does not have to look exactly like this one. So again, name of the athlete, the box check that says cleared without restrictions or cleared with the following restrictions, the signature of the physician, the date of the exam, and the signature of the parent and guardian. Please make sure that all of those are filled in prior to turning in the physical form. One way that you can figure out that you have completed the registration process is by going to our Infinite Campus parent portal, which an icon is located at the top of the McFarland School District web page. It is a green icon for a parent portal. Once you click on that icon, you can then log into Infinite Campus. Once you've logged in with your username and password, then you would go to select your student up at the top. Step 3 shows that. Once you've selected your student, on the left-hand side underneath your child's picture is a tab for athletic registration. Once you click on that, it'll show you the physical date that we have on file, whether you have filled out the emergency information, whether you've consented to the code of conduct, and whether you've consented to the concussion information. All of those, as you see on the screen that are listed no in this example, would be listed as yes. And then obviously underneath that for the fall payment, it would be listed as yes as well. So it's very important that after you complete the registration process, you may go to this screen to see that it's all filtered through. Please understand that this process runs on the top of the hour. So if you register your child for athletics at 9:45 in the morning, it would not be in our program or in our system until 10 o'clock at the top of the hour. Before I go on to the next slide, I want to make sure that parents are very familiar with the registration process. When you register your athlete for a fall, winter, or spring sport, you need to go to your inbox of Infinite Campus. There in the inbox, there'll be a red exclamation point, and it will list out MHS registration and then the season to follow, whether it be fall, winter, or spring. Please make sure that you click on that link and you fill out all the information necessary within that registration process. Emergency contact information, medications and allergies are very important, insurance providers, medical information, all of that information needs to be filled out throughout this registration process to have it be completed. You also will be consenting to our Athletic and Activities Code of Conduct and the concussion information through the registration process. So please make sure that that is completed. And like I said, you can also pay online. Next slide that we have here is our low-cost health insurance. Part of consenting to the Athletic and Activities Code is telling us, the school district, that you have adequate insurance to cover your child's injuries if that happens. If this is not the case, please make sure that you contact the school district for us to provide you with a low-cost health insurance available to assist athletes who are not adequately covered. Now we'll get into the Athletic and Activities Code and the policies that we have within our Code of Conduct. Please understand that this is the district's philosophy and procedures of our athletic department, and we want to make sure that athletes and parents are familiar with the policies and procedures we have. We have two types of policies in our Athletic and Activities Code. The first one that I'll be talking about is the substance policy. You can see on the screen here that this would be considered use, possession, sale, or intent to sell, distribution, hosting, or sharing of alcohol, tobacco, e-cigarettes, vaping pens, chemicals, illegal substances, lookalike drugs, including any substance represented as a drug or as an intoxicating or mood-altering, regardless of its true nature. The first offense in this substance policy would be a 20% suspension of the season. The second offense would be a 40% suspension of the season, and any offenses after that would be 50%. Along with the suspension of the season, we have an assessment policy. If it's the athlete's first violation, we do require that they have a face-to-face or an online option for an assessment. If it is the second or third violation, then the administration feels that a face-to-face assessment is necessary. Appointments must be set, or information for online option must be picked up within 2 weeks of being notified of the violation. If an assessment is not completed, an additional suspension will be added. We have two types of assessments, like I mentioned. The first one is through Third Millennium, which is an online course. There is a $35 cost to this course. And we also have a UW Health Alcohol and Drug Assessment Counseling Service that is free. You can call the number on the screen, set up an appointment, notify the athletic department of the appointment date, and then once you are completed with that appointment, they will send me a letter stating that they have seen the athlete and the parents and that there seems to be no need for any other services or recommend other services necessary. The other policy in our Athletic and Activities Code of Conduct is considered what we have here, personal conduct policy. Personal conduct violations include, but are not limited to, I won't list all of them, you can read them on your own, but being present when alcohol and drugs are being illegally used, bullying, hazing, theft, vandalism, plagiarism and cheating, and actions on becoming of a student athlete. Please understand, in the personal conduct policy, we have major and minor violations, and whether it is determined major or minor will be determined by the administration here at the school. Penalties for the personal conduct violations. Major violations, the first offense would be a 20% or greater suspension based on the nature of the offense. Second offense would be 40% or greater suspension. And then the third offense or more would be a 50% or greater suspension. You can see that the major violation parallels our substance policy violation as well. Minor violations, the first offense is a recommended warning or a one-event suspension based upon the nature of the offense. The second offense is recommended 20% suspension based on the nature of the offense. And the third offense would be a 50% suspension based on the nature of the offense. The disciplinary The disciplinary action taken by the school may vary with the degree of the offense. The school administration reserves the right to treat each personal conduct violation on its own merit and determine if the violation is considered major or minor violation. The administration will make the final determination of the disciplinary actions. A few years back, we put in 2 clauses in our athletic and activities code to try to help the student athlete learn from their mistakes, and we wanted to award honesty. A student may be awarded one of the following clauses in regards to a violation. The self-reporting clause. Basically what the self-reporting clause is if a student athlete violates our athletic code and self-reports to an administrator, guidance counselor, or the athletic director within 24 hours of the code violation, the student will have their penalty reduced by 50%. Please understand that the reduction in the student's suspension is only allowed once in the student's high school career. Once the school administration becomes aware of the violation through another source, there is no longer an option to self-report. The other clause that we wanted to put into our athletic code a couple years back was the honesty clause. A student who is completely honest, forthcoming, and cooperative upon being questioned by the administrator or athletic director may reduce his or her suspension by 1 contest. Please understand that in the process of gathering information in these types of violations, we do ask that we have honesty with our student athletes and our parents as well. We ask that we understand that we're not a police department, but we are trying to uphold a code that we feel strongly in supporting. And we want to make sure that we're giving the student athlete the opportunity to see a reduction in their suspension if they are honest and forthcoming with information. One of the other policies that we have in our athletic code deals with our academics. Basically, to be eligible to compete in a sport here at McFarland High School, the student athlete needs to earn a 1.75 grade point average in all classes, and they need to be passing all classes. Incompletes count as an F when determining the grade point average until the teacher submits a grade to the administration or the guidance department. Students identified as ineligible due to an incomplete may practice but are ineligible to compete in events. The WIAA has set 2 different types of academic requirements. For fall sports, you can see that it is the same qualifications. Students have to have a 1.75 grade point average, and they have to be passing all classes. If they are ineligible, the ineligibility period shall be a 21 consecutive calendar days time, beginning with the date of earliest allowed competition by the WIAA. This chart will be referenced on page 7 of our Athletic and Activities Code. Once the school year begins and we start to deal with winter and spring eligibility, academic eligibility rules, a student who becomes academically ineligible after midterm grading period will be ineligible for 15 scheduled school days and nights. A student is ineligible if they receive an F or have a GPA below a 1.75. Again, this will all be referenced on page 7 of our McFarland Athletic and Activities Code. Some other policies that we have within our Athletic and Activities Code is our attendance policy. Basically, what this is stating is that students need to be in school for the entire day in order to participate in practice or compete in games. Obviously, we understand that appointments come up during the day. Dentist, doctor, family appointments aren't always easy to schedule outside of the school day. So what we ask is that parents please notify the office in advance of these appointments, either by email or phone call. And if that is not able to be done, we ask that the student should turn in a slip to the front office from the appointment when returning back to school. Communication with coaches. We encourage all athletes to communicate with coach first if there are concerns. I understand that sports can be an emotional time for parents and athletes, but we really want to make sure that our athletes are taking the initiative to talk to their coaches about any concerns throughout the season. Once the athlete has spoken with the coach, and maybe the athlete feels that the problem is still there or a situation came up again, then obviously the parent could get involved. The parent and athlete may decide to meet with the coach and discuss that issue, and hopefully a resolution would be had by both. The athletic director can get involved after the athlete has spoken to the coach or the parent and athlete has spoken to the coach, And I always feel it's a good idea to wait 24 hours before talking with a coach if you have a concern. Please reference our communication resources on our sports website. As you can see here, it's an example of what we look at as our district communication procedures. On the top rectangle to the left, you can see that if it's a team or individual concern, athletes speak with the coach. If it's an athletic program concern, obviously you would talk with the athletic director or the principal. So we ask that you would reference this sheet if you would have concerns within the athletic department. There are other parent resources found on our district sports website that you can please take advantage of. Transportation. We ask that all athletes ride the school bus to and from competitions. We feel that this is the safest way for our athletes and coaches to go to their events and come back to our school. I also understand, and we as administrators understand, that this cannot always be the case due to the fact that you may have a family commitment or a family gathering after an event, which we understand. We just ask that you please have the form filled out, which you can get from a coach, or you can print it off of our district sports website. It is listed on the left-hand side of the sports website as a parent transportation form. There are 2 forms on 1 sheet of paper, so you can cut it in half. Please try to give that to the coach 24 hours in advance so the coach can be made aware of that athlete not riding back on the bus to our high school. Please understand that you can only transport your child. You are not allowed to transport other student athletes in your vehicle. If you have questions about the transportation policies, please feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email. We also feel that a lot of the team memories and team bonding can be done on a school bus ride to a competition or back to our high school. During some of our sports seasons, we have an early release policy. Some athletic events require students to be released from the traditional school day early. To be eligible for this early release privilege, students must be passing all of the classes. Concussion information. The DPI and the WIAA, along with our state, have instituted a law in regards to concussion. This is on the Infinite Campus registration process for parents. There is information there that we want parents to be aware of when it comes to concussion signs and symptoms, as well as our athletes being aware of concussion signs and symptoms. Please understand that if an athlete does have a concussion or has been diagnosed with a concussion, that the athlete needs to be cleared by a medical professional trained in treating concussions before they can participate in practice or competitions. We will do our best to notify teachers of these injuries, concussion injuries, due to the fact that the school day could be a challenging process for them if they are concussed. We have a wonderful trainer in our high school by the name of Jay Hansen. I highly encourage our parents to work through Jay when it comes to any sports injury, but especially when it comes to concussions. And again, like I said earlier, please understand that this is part of the registration process where we need to have parents sign off on this concussion information. Spectator behavior, students and parents. Again, like I referenced earlier, there are some resources on our sports website that have information about sportsmanship for the spectator, parent, and also the athlete. We ask that when it comes to our spectators, we ask that you please cheer for our athletes and not against our opponents, and please respect the officials' calls during the contest. A wonderful handout that the WIAA provides for us is called the Ideal Sport Parent or the Parental Guide to Sportsmanship on our sports website. I do have some sportsmanship videos here that you can access. One that we're going to be going over on this video here is Don't Be This Parent. It kind of puts a comical spin on parents in the stands, and I want parents to understand the importance of supporting our kids and our coaches and our community and not worrying about the officials or the opponents.
This is the worst officiated game I've ever seen. Just take him to the hole. That's a foul. That's a terrible call. Are you serious? My son's not in the game right now, but he's got a couple offers. Colleges are looking at him. He's probably going to go D1. Yeah, the coach just hates him. Trap him. That's a foul. Charge. We got to play some defense. Oh, we have him on? Offense. I'm going to go find the coach at halftime. I got a couple plays I'm going to recommend to him. That's a foul. He's over his back. That's a terrible call. You know what? I heard they illegally recruited some of these players. I think they paid them. Guard somebody. Guard. Trap him. Trap him. How is my son supposed to get a D1 scholarship if y'all don't put him in the game? I mean, sure, he's 4'11", he's a senior, but he can shoot. Jump ball! That's a jump ball! No! We need somebody in the game that can handle the ball. My son could dribble 2 basketballs at once. Terrible! I think I'm gonna pull my son out of this school. They don't appreciate him here. That is a travel! These refs are horrible. I need like some kind of cushion or something. These bleachers are killing my hips. Box out, defense, defense. That's a foul. That's a terrible call. Where do they find these refs? I didn't pay $150 for a pair of Jordans for my son to sit on the bench. I'm gonna email the coach after the game.
Becoming more and more of a issue during some of our sports seasons is our club sports and our high school sports running parallel. What I mean by that is you might have a athlete involved in a high school sport, in-season sport, but then also have a club sport of an out-of-season sport that is paralleling that season. We want our kids to be involved in as many opportunities as possible, but please understand that communication is required before the season starts about the club sport practices and competitions. Coaches may have consequences for missed in-season sport practices or games. And allegiance to your high school in-season sport is very important to our teammates, school, and community. About 2 years ago, the WIAA did have a rule passed that says an athlete may compete in not more than 2 non-school competitions with school approval during each regular sports season. The contest or contests will not count against the individual's maximum competitions for the athlete in that sport. Non-school competition will not be allowed during the respective WIAA tournament series in that sport. Through the school registration process, our athletic department does offer a student athletic pass. It is $20 for the pass, and it will get you into any sport that has a paid admission or admission to the sport. Please understand that hockey games, because they are off-site, do not fall into this category, or WIAA tournament games. Passes must be present for admission at each event. Some helpful websites that we have through our school district and through our athletic department. We have our McFarland district website and the WIAA website. Some contact information that might be helpful for you. Again, my name is Paul Ackley. I'm the athletic director of the McFarland School District. The information there is my contact information with cell phone number, email, and office line. You have our principal, Mr. Jeff Finstead, with his office line, as well as a cell phone and email, and our 2 assistant principals, David Piavinetti and Ann Nichols. I want to thank you for taking time to view this video with your son or daughter. And again, if you have any questions in regards to the content of this video or the PowerPoint presentation that you saw, please feel free to contact me through email or office phone or cell phone. Thank you again, and best of luck with your respected season.